Good evening. How are we all? And hello, Jack. Hello, Carol. Those are obviously the people that are not melting completely. Right, different setup on the fans today to allow for the dog that's down there. Move the big fan in front. I have a fan at the side. I have a fan at the other side. So hopefully I won't cook completely and I won't be scuppered by the well-meaning puppy dog who is now hogging the big fan in front of me. Yes, it is really hot. Also, need to apologise. I've got really cool like shorts, linen short, like dungaree things on, and I didn't bother bringing a change of outfit because I thought, you know, what could possibly go wrong? Except, what's the worst thing to spill on linen? Butter. So yeah, so the mic cable's going across that. So don't judge. But yes, typical. Hello, Mira. Are you home now? Did you have a lovely adventure with the garden centre at Wolverhampton? Right, I'm going to flick the camera down off me because I'm going to be progressively redder and redder as the live goes on, and we'll actually get cracking with what we're going to be doing. I don't think I need my phone on, but I'll leave it on for now. So we're going to be playing with making our own rice paper-ish kind of idea. We've got some tea bags, and then with the bits I've made, because I've already made some in advance so they're dry, although I think they'll dry super quick up here. Then we're going to do a journal page, and then we'll end with one of my little sort of quick things that you can do to give you toppers and stuff, because it's been fabulous to see everybody making their waste not want nots for the paint ones, the paper ones, and it's nice that people have got a little stash that they can use on cards and stuff, and also really nice that everybody's just getting stuck in and giving it a go and sort of letting their hair down and making really, really fabulous little squares that you can use, and you can use just one on a card is really stylish, but then you can mix and match. You can have a go at the circle waterfall and stuff like that. And well done to Hazel on her flag book. That was really good, but that's not on Facebook, but I'll check with her if I can put it on for her. Right, let's flick off me before I go completely bright red. Right, so this is a hint of what we're going to be doing. Okay, and these are just normal traditional napkins. Okay, so you can see they've got this lovely stained look, and they are much, much tougher. So they become much more like rice paper, so that you can use them in lots of different ways. Now, I am working on one of my, great for overhead camera this, I'm working on one of my big sheets of acetate, because this stuff is fabulous for working with glue. This is now what we use in the padding press. We don't use Mylar anymore because the glue's sort of stuck to Mylar a little bit more than it does with this. So I have stuck 10 sheets of these on the website if you want them. It is nice, decent weight acetate. Maria, you're not too late. That is good. Yeah, so they're the nice big sheets of acetate. So I've stuck them on if you do want them, because I'm going to be working on this, because we also worked on this on Saturday when we did paper making, and we did this really cool paper, which is where you take your pulp and you sort of lay it out and you make it lacy and you leave it to dry, and then it peels off. So I've kept my bit because I thought it might be quite nice to use in something later. So what are we going to do? We are going to transform our serviettes. You've missed, yeah, it's been noted. You can watch them back on YouTube, it doesn't matter. You all right, mate? Yeah, so these are just normal serviettes. You can see actually that I didn't do the whole one there because I wanted to show you. So, somewhere safe at home, very safe, I have got a whole array of serviettes, napkins, whatever you want to call them, that I accumulated over sort of trips and things, you know, garden centres. You see the lovely rack of them and you buy them and use one or two for decoupaging, and then it's like you have a whole stack of them. It's like, what do you do with them? Because they don't do, some places do mixed packs, which is really good. But I saw this technique and I thought, do you know what, that would give my napkins such a great lease of life. But I couldn't find them. So all I could find were these poppies, but it works well with everything. The other thing I saw, and anybody can relate to this, whenever you're working with napkins and serviettes, you have to separate them, don't you? And I saw this tip and it's like, oh, why have I not been doing that all the years? Is take a little bit of tape, stick it to the corner and peel. And away comes one layer. You sometimes lose the little bit of corner, which is why you do it on the back plain one. Okay, so there's one layer. Do the same thing again. And there comes, this is where it gets a bit tricky with fans. There comes the second layer. Because these were posh ones, obviously. These were 3-ply. Oh, sorry, Julie. No, it's not the only thing that doesn't like the heat. Don't worry, I'll get it downloaded and uploaded onto YouTube. Right. So that's how you separate them. And traditionally, when you're doing decoupage and stuff, this is the one you want. This is the one you use. And you end up almost wasting these. So this technique I'm about to show you. Oh, does the washi tape not normally tear? This is masking tape, so it's probably a bit sticky. But I could do the whole sticky it to me. So we're going to use some of these as well, which will give us plain ones to work with. And we'll have the poppy one as well. Right, so I need to just do a little bit of preparing. So in here, good old coffee. We're going to add some glue. Okay, and we're going to add some water. Okay, and we're going to give it a stir. Now normally I would always say coffee mix is better in warm water, but I think in this temperature it's going to be warm within seconds anyway. So you're going to get this kind of like really interesting gloopy, watery, do not mistake this for some kind of fancy matcha coffee or something like that. It is still glue. Okay, so this is the sort of consistency you're wanting. Okay, and I'll do one of the plain papers, but you do exactly the same thing with the poppies or whatever, but I've only bought one bit of plastic up, so I've got enough room to work. So what you want to do is just mark where the corners are with some glue. Move it out of the way for a minute, because anybody that does decoupage knows that trying to put glue onto tissue is notoriously difficult, because it wants to tear and you end up in a bit of a mess. So what we do is we apply the glue to the plastic, the lovely coffee stained glue. Then we can come in. This is where the fan is going to be a pain, but I'm not melting. Lay your tissue down in it, your napkin. If you get some wrinkles in it, doesn't matter. And then you can just add a bit more glue to the top if you want. Just getting it pushed down onto the plastic. Because I say, the great thing with this plastic is the glue does not stick to it. So I'm just going to go round, and I'm doing a dabbing motion now just to make sure that it's soaking up. And you can see, because we've added the coffee to it, we are staining it at the same time. Okay, and you can do this with the decorative napkins, and do it with the plain layers you've taken off. And if you've got 10 sheets, like I say, you could do loads of these, lay them out in the sun and they'll dry really quickly. I'm just going to do one and show you something else to go on the other gap within the plastic. But test your plastic first. I know this plastic works, the glue doesn't stick to it, but I find with Mylar. Hello Mr. Humphreys, how are you today? Yeah, with the Mylar I find it does stick a little bit, and when you're dealing with delicate napkins you don't want it to stick at all. This stuff just peels off. Okay, so I'm just going until there's no sort of white, so I know it's completely and utterly soaked in the coffee glue. Coffee glue, that's a new thing even for me. No, but I do have dust masks, Mr. Humphreys. And what else have we got? Oh, you like the mini easels? They're still really popular. Right, So while that's going to be drying here, I'm also going to do the same with some tea bag paper. But obviously these are teeny tiny little bits, so I'm going to cut the edge off because I'm currently on Yorkshire tea, which has an edge. So I'm going to have, oh, this is going to be, I don't want to turn the fan off because I'll melt. So you know what I need. You know what I need. I need an iron. There it is. Just while I get the glue down. It's behaving. Woo, she's back. So I'm just cutting the edges. Now, I'm sure I've told you all this before about how to dry tea bags, but make a cup of tea. Take the tea bag out before you add the milk is ideal, otherwise it can go mouldy. Take your tea bag out, leave it on the side for about an hour or so to cool down and dry a little bit. Then do a little surgical incision, tip the tea out, and then leave it to dry fully. And that way you get nice stained tea bags. By leaving it to soak and rest for a little while, you get more interest on your tea bags. Right, I'm now going to apply my glue. I'm going to use the coffee stained glue again. I don't need to because they're already stained with the tea, but it's just going to add a little bit of extra. And because my glue was made with instant coffee and it was still a little bit, I'm going to move that up a little bit granular, I am getting a bit more sort of tone and interest. I'm going to put my glue on that. There we go. Right, take these one at a time from under, and I am going to overlap them very slightly so that this should, when it's dry tomorrow, make an entire sheet which I can use. Okay, so I'm doing the same sort of thing. I might overlap them a bit more interestingly. Why don't you go downstairs, Marvin, where it's not quite so melty? Yeah, I appreciate you like to see what's going on, but it is a bit excessively melty up here. So again, just making sure that I'm applying glue to all of it. So obviously we're wanting these to overlap so that we're going to have a sheet of something to work with. I'm going to cut that one in half because then I can have a more sort of, well, actually I'm going to stick that in as well. Right, so just add a bit more glue to that. So again, I'm making sure that I've got glue all over there, and then it just gets put aside to dry. I think that's going to be really lovely, that one. Okay, move the coffee glue out the way. So take your sheet and it will just happily sit on there and dry. Just remember to have somewhere where the air can flow over it, because obviously it can't dry from behind because the plastic's there. Everything's going to have to come up. So don't sort of be stacking them. It needs a little bit of air. Oh, I've got a bit of tea leaves in there for added texture. Right, so I'm going to put that out of the way and show you what comes off. So when you first peel them off, one side will be quite shiny. That's what's come off the plastic. Okay, so you can leave it like that if you want and use the other side, which has a lovely matte finish. But listen to it. It's so much stronger now. And it's got that beautiful staining and a little bit of wrinkling. You can also wrinkle the edges as it's on the plastic. So if you want to, you know, have it a bit scruffier, you can screw it up. You can unscrew it, you can do all sorts. This is where I've got a little bit more coffee staining, and I don't know if you can just see, but in the corner there I've started to stamp on my plain one. So obviously this one has got the beautiful patterns already, so we don't need to do anything. We could do if we want, but we'll have a little play with this and get that into making my own sort of faux rice paper, which we'll use on a journal page in a second. Now I do need to, because I noticed earlier when I was doing this, it's really hard for you to see because it's transparent, and that's better? Right, so let's just do some little stampy things on here just to give it a little bit of interest. And I am going to work with, I think I'm going to work with an archival. Got a stamp there, that's there, got some flowers, I've got a few things around. Right, but we're going to start with one of my favourite textures, which is good old, right, so who have I missed? Hello Christine, hello Maureen. Right, so this is just garden twine wrapped around an acrylic block and then tied up at the back. I love this for creating almost like faux writing, because the little wispy bits of the twine give a really nice, can you see that? Just giving that a really nice bit of interest going on, as well as all that fabulous texture and staining we've got anyway. I'm only going to do a small section. Okay, so just so it gives that illusion of some writing going on in the background. Okay, it's not too heavy, so it's a really nice one for just breaking up. If you've got a script stamp, perfect, but if you haven't, you can cheat. Okay, I'll treat this like it is, you know, like a napkin. It is a napkin, so I'll just do one section of it. Okay, just gives it, you know, simple as some string around. Always, you know, this is one of those I always grab. I don't always keep the string on there, because sometimes the lovely stained string gets used for other things. So let's give them that a nice background. Okay, so now we're going to come in with some real stamps. I'm going to use some of my butterflies from the Flutterby set. See, it stamps really nicely. I am using archival. Could use your VersaFine Claire. But it's just giving it a really nice feel. You could stencil onto this. You're just making your own rice paper, really. Okay, gonna go off the page there. I think I want, should I do the dragonfly as well, or do I do some flowers? Might do some flowers. Yeah, I'm gonna do one though. So I don't want to overcrowd it. Okay, I want to put something in there. No, I don't want to do the dragonfly. And you could right, coffee and glue on photos. I would put a layer of something over the photo. You can get a protective film, you know, maybe even just something that's going to protect your photo just in case, because we don't know if the napkin is acid free. I'm just using PVA glue, which may or may not have some acid and lignin and things like that in it. So just to play it safe, you could actually put an archival spray onto your photo to protect it. Just play it safe. But the photo I'm using was very kindly gifted to me. It was one from someone who's doesn't know who the relative is. You know, the ones that you've accumulated for years and years and years, and rather than it go and disappear into landfill, she said, would I like to use them? So I have got some really nice photos to use. So we have our lovely paper there. So I'm now going to tear it, and it does tear really nicely. Still, you've got to give it a little bit of effort because obviously it is tougher. Okay. So, and again, do as I say, not as I do. Use your thumbs to guide it. You can see that's just it's got such lovely feel. I am going to go, the string around the acrylic block, that gets used so often. Such a handy one. Marv, could you not completely block the fan with your head, please? I wish I could turn the camera around so you could see. He is standing right in front of the fan, letting it blow over him. But then, to be fair, when he was a puppy, he used to go up to the big floor fan, lean against it, and just slide down it. Right, I'm actually going to tear some more off here. But these little bits I'm tearing off, you know me, they're not going to get wasted. I just think they're so pretty. Could, you know... Right, I'm going to put those to one side. But let's have some more interest in this. So that's one thing. I'm going to just raid my little pile while trying not to disturb. I'm hoping that that's going to be dry enough to take off. It's so warm, it could be. Right, don't need tissue at the moment. Might need a bit of brown paper. Let's have a bit of that. That's for later. Book page, sheet music, need you in a minute, need you in a minute, and maybe a little bit of that. Okay, oh, and a bit of lace. Okay. Right. Honestly, this is starting to dry already. Still a bit delicate, and it is still damp. You do want to wait for it to be completely dry, but it's not far off. I think by the time I show you tomorrow morning, that would be like so dry. Okay, I've got some different sort of textures and interest, because what I love about sort of this faux rice paper is the fact that whatever you put it over, you can see through from behind, which is why you best write lines, Hazel Preston. Also, your ears might have been burning, just saying. And a little bit of one of our, don't know if I'm going to use that, but I will be using it in a minute. And some brown paper from a paper bag. So destructive. So destructive. Right. So our photo is going to be the main feature. We obviously want a little bit of this, but we want some interest going on behind. Might not use all of that. I might break that down a little bit more. So just while I get a plan in my head, I'm just going to start tearing up some of these other pieces of paper. See, I love the dictionary, but this line annoys me because it straight away puts a divide down your work. So if that you have a dictionary and you want to use it, but that line annoys you, tear just off to the side of it, slide it over, and then glue it back down like that. And when it's glued down, now I need to put some glue out that's not got coffee in it, because otherwise we'll have coffee stains everywhere. So I'm just going to put some more glue out. See, I normally squeeze the glue out to reduce the moisture from it, so it doesn't cause things to wrinkle. I don't think I need to worry about that today. I don't think there's any moisture left in anything. Don't throw your bottle of water over the mixing desk. Right, so to make this a whole sheet that hasn't got a column, I'm applying glue just down that edge. And then as long as you roughly line the lines up, when that's dry, you would not know that that's had columns in it. It's a really handy way as well if you need to extend a book page. So say for example we were working landscape and you wanted your book page to go all the way across and you don't want to have these lines, tear it up into those columns. And it's always better to tear because you have a more natural edge, doesn't have a stark straight line, it really hides it. So I think as I've gone to all that effort, I'm going to use that on the background. Okay. And again, all these little bits are going to get used at the end. Melting, I'm melting. There we go. No, the melted dog is still there. I don't know why he insists on coming up. They've got a massive great floor fan. Mura will tell you because she was here on Saturday, and Sarah. Massive great floor fan so that they can chill out in front of that. Concrete floor, so it's nice and cool down there. And he comes and cooks up here. Right. This is starting. I think I'm going to go with a smaller panel of that. Kind of like that. I do like that over the top, but I might have a bit of that poking out. Yeah, that in the corner. But what is sort of really jumping out at me is how white that background is. So let's break that up a little bit. So first things first, let's ink it a little bit. I don't know if I've got a brown distress ink. Let me just have a look. Brush corduroy, excellent. So just, if you haven't got a distress ink, obviously you can get your coffee out. There we go. Going to come a little further in and then give a little more attention to the edge. Hang on. Whose idea was it to put the studio at the top of the mezzanine? There we go. Adding a little bit there. But I could come in and do my lovely, might do a little bit of this. Just to break that up a little bit. Now obviously the wrinkles up there, the wrinkles, not wrinkles, the curls of the spiral are causing me a bit of problems there. I would need to slide my string further up my acrylic block. But I just want a different texture in here. So, bit of screwed up paper. That's broken that up really nicely. Okay, do we remember the order now? What we do need to do though is, I think all my edges are going to need a little bit of inking. Especially this nice torn edge. It's going to give it a little bit more interest if I do little circular motions there against that tear, so it will just turn. For aging paper, if you use a distress ink, obviously you're going to get that sort of consistent colour, but I also like to use more natural things as well, like coffee. Did you see my paper I'd done with my pea pods and onion skins? You know, they'll give a different look, but brush corduroy is kind of a nice colour. Walnut stain's another good one. Also, if you use coffee and tea and things like that, your paper has a crunchiness to it, so it has a more aged feel. Yeah, see, just that. And I don't know if you can see, but that's just got like a little tiny turn to it because I've done the circular motion, so it just picks up that sort of fluffy edge. I'm just putting the glue on with a sponge just so that I can get that down. Okay, so we wanted a bit of that, and then we're going to have that sort of over the top. But I might, I don't know, can't decide. We could make that into a pocket and tuck the photo into it. That's quite nice as well. So let's do that. And we could, oh, there's paper blowing around. I can't keep up either, Christine, don't worry. Right, the onion skins, it wasn't a demo as such, it was just some pictures. So I took my onion skins after I'd cooked curry. I layered them between some paper with my purple pea pods. That's not easy to say. The peas inside are still green, but the pods have this amazing purple colour. So I layered them between some paper, then I rolled it up like a burrito, tied it up with a piece of string, chuck it in a pan and you boil it for a little while and it extracts the colour and deposits it on the paper. I think I'm going to go with the pocket idea because then we can put a little greeting on that. So I'm going to glue along there so that will suck up to there. Then we're going to put a bit of glue along the back there. I know I was using a sponge a minute ago and now I've gone to my finger. I'm going to take that out a second. So we're going to put that there. Let that dry a second. A bit like my face needs drying. So that can then tuck in. We'll have that tucked there. But I do feel I want to have a little bit. Right, clear some space, you're making a mess. So we could have a bit of brown paper along there. I might put a sentiment on that. So I might just have a little bit of brown paper along there, which we'll put a sentiment on in a minute. We'll kind of try and keep this fairly simple, but just sort of, I wanted to show that nice sort of faux rice paper in situ. I'm just iron. I'm going to use a little bit layered, right, I'm going to layer a little bit of this on. So I'm just going to smear again because it's easier to put it on the more robust paper. You could actually layer it on and then tear it later so that you're tearing through all the layers. Just want a bit more of that down there. Just these little strands are really nice. Okay. Smear that around. Can't now remember how I had it. Flick that over the end. This is going to get tucked in. I might even make this a little bit like a tag. Haven't got any ribbon. I think that might be quite nice with a little bit there, but I'm going to ink that a little bit. Okay, bit of glue. Only because my brads are downstairs after I'd found them. Okay, and I want to add a bit more ink to that. Oh, I nearly put that in the glue then. Where's my screwed up paper? just breaks up any whiteness. So that would come in here, and then maybe get some little embellishments, you know, some buttons, add a little sentiment. I haven't got a massive amount of sentiment stamps up here tonight. I have got, not best wishes, that's a bit boring. Thinking of you, with love. I like this, with love. Okay. I'll tell you what I might add as well. Because I've also got our lovely poppy one as well. I could just take a small section of that, or maybe even, right, okay, let's take a small section of this and put it in the corner there. And then I'm also going to, so the with love there, I might also take a single pop, little section of this. And because, you know, with napkins, you could buy them in packs of 25 or something, you know, if you use it all, it doesn't matter, you can just make up another one. So I'm just sort of loosely fussy cutting that. God, that glue's dried already. That's crazy. So add that to there. Just gives that a nice little bit of interest. Have that poking out there. Oh, do I put the with? Yeah, no, the with love's going to go down there. I would look for another sentiment up there. Just I think it needs a little something there, or a button or something. So I'm not actually going to glue the photo down, because it also means I can use it on another project as well, because it's a really nice size. It's not a big scary photo in terms of size, because some of them, you know, they're quite daunting size. And then I'm going to have to put some more glue out. Oh, squeezy. And just put a little bit of glue on the back there. So add that into the corner. Just remember, this paper is very thin, so if you're putting glue on like that, don't have anything underneath. Maybe cut a bit of the plastic and slide it in there, so you're not going to actually stick your pocket shut, because there is a danger. And when I'm doing journals, I do tend to fold over to the other side, because it starts your next page, and also can act, if you've got a long bit that you're tucking over, can act as a pocket as well. You know, again, I could have not glued that down and had it tucked behind there, but you get the idea of just sort of having a little. And I'm going to put that, and I'm going to make it so that the with love fits. And if you are gluing, that's it. So just a little sort of starting to play. I haven't added any embellishments. I mean, I have got, you know, bits in here, little stickers and things like that you could add, but I just think picking these flowers out from this lovely napkin with that staining, maybe some of the daisies would be really nice. In fact, there is one on there. Or a little bit of lace. I could have used lace instead of the paper, but you can just see that just having that coffee staining to that rice paper, and I use the term a little loosely, you know, from that stained serviette, you've instantly got a really nice vintagey feel. Okay, so that's just using it in a sort of a journal page, but I also wanted to show you a little fun thing that I call magic layers. And this is one of those things you do when ideas desert you. Okay, and you want, again, all your sort of scrappy bits, some bigger pieces, and so I want some sheet music. Let me just get another piece of book page, another piece of book page. Oh, that was something else I was going to use. That's eco printed. So like I said about the onion skins, I did it with a doily, so that's why that's got nice colours in it, and a bit of book page, bit of brown paper. Right, so I am going to just start tearing these up into rough rectangles. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start with brown paper. So we're going to start with plain. Now, with a fan blowing, this is going to be fun. So you just lay them out on a plain background. I need one more. Right, so that's our base layer, our plain layer. We're now going to go to a busier layer. So we're going to go with some book page, and I'm going to go slightly smaller with this, only slightly. I'm taking those edges off. I purposely put that one that way because it fits better, but then when we come to use it, it'll be nice not to have them all portrait. We can have some more landscapey ones. Okay, just again, I'm taking that annoying column off. Oh, that's upside down. Well, it doesn't really matter at this point. One more bit. Don't have to do 9, it's just quite nice to do a sort of a full page. Okay, so next we're going to go plainish. So I'm going to use some of that leftover serviette. Half of it's just blown across the room. So even that little bit there, I'm going to stay. You could use the patterned one, and then we're going to go with just a tiny little bit of sheet music. So I'm going to tear this really small. Eke it out a little bit more. So the rule is plain, patterned, plain, patterned. Gradually getting smaller. Once you've got your piles like that, it's just a case of starting to glue it all down. Okay, I'm gluing this very loosely just so that I can start to get these together. You don't even have to glue. If you've got pretty paper clips, they look really cool held together with paper clips. But I'm just gluing here because I am going to cut these out. Okay, a little bit of that. So you're getting these really interesting little panels. And do you know what I tripped over in the cabin yesterday? That's right, my trimmer. Do you know where it still is? Yes, that's right, in the cabin. Not here. So I'm going to have to do this by hand again. So again, if you do ATCs, this is a really nice one because you can easily do a set. But like our waste not, want nots, you can use these individually, or you can have a set of them. You could even make a mini journal. Oh, I wonder if I've got time. I might have time to show you a very quick journal you could make with these in. If I've got any paper. Oh, I've got black card. Could do it with black card. Okay. So you're getting the idea. Just glue these down. I might not glue them all down. What do I need? I need 8, I think. Okay. And then once you've got your background panels, you then grab your die cuts, your pre-stamped images, your stickers, you know, anything that you've got. I've grabbed some of my flowers and like leaf stickers. Could be real pressed flowers. Don't seem to have any of those left. What's an ATC, Sarah? An ATC is an artist trading card. So if you think like kids used to trade, probably still do, Pokemon cards, you know, and you'd swap them around. ATCs are the same size. They're 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and you make little pieces of art on them, and then you trade them with your crafting friends, or you can join groups and you swap with strangers, really. And what you get is, A, you get an excuse to make beautiful little pieces of art that aren't too daunting, and B, you'll get traded back different ones, so you get ideas, you get inspiration. Sometimes they'll have a theme, sometimes they'll just be you know, random. They're a really nice thing to do. Check out Pinterest and you'll see, but they are sort of this sort of size, and they have been popular for many years, and they continue to be pretty popular. It's just a really nice thing to do, and again, it's not too daunting. Right, I'm going to start cutting these up so that we've got the individual pieces, and then I've got some very simple stickers to add, and then hopefully I should have time to show you how to make a little book, another one-page wonder. So you can see again, you've got some really nice sort of little backgrounds, and I would add things, I'll see what I've got underneath, like buttons, little bits, you know. So I'll add some flowers, maybe some words, whatever takes your fancy. Once you've got your little panel, well, there's an atrocious cut again. The others weren't doing too bad, and then I just suddenly went on the wonk. Okay, this one's quite dinky and small. So you can be guided by, you know, do you keep them all the same size? Or do you? So we've got our little things, and then, so again, I could cut out some of those poppies from that lovely paper that I made there, but I'm just going to raid. So I've got some die cuts here. I did think these were quite nice. Could just have a little bit of that, just like one corner of it on there. I'm going to save those because I've got another plan for those, but they just happen to be in my little wallet. So here we go. So add little flower. Everybody knows I love a bit of fern there. These are just like, they're printed on acetate, so you can use them. So they're like dried flowers, but easy to use. Get them in the journal supply places. It's quite a nice one. Okay, I'm going to just, so they just get glued on. I will trim those ones down that are overhanging. What are you? Let's see if I've got some more ferns. Dee. Oh, what are you? Oh, you're nice. Oh, he's nice. I like him. Right, so I'm going to get those glued down. I'm going to just see if I've got, I usually have a pot of gubbins. Pot of gubbins. Yes, always have a pot of gubbins. So I could add a little button. Not the best pot of gubbins I've ever had, but it'll do. Normally have smaller buttons than that. But you know, add some little ones, maybe add some words. But you can see, again, it's very quick to build these up. I will stamp. Where's my with love gone? There it is. Right, what I love about this with love is I can do this. Just literally cut the stamp in half. Keep both halves, and you can always put it back together when you want it. But it just means that I can stamp the word love on its own and add that to some of these pieces. All these little bits I badly cut off. Let's just do 3. So I want to show you. I would then also either ink that edge okay, so I'm just going to quickly spot a glue on the back there. These are not glued down very well, but I'm racing here. But you can see that you're getting these really cute little. So again, I'm cutting that down, but I would actually throw that little bit back in, because you never know when you just need a little bit of interest in the back of something. Okay. Just got 2. Honestly, this glue is dry. Oh no, there's some there. Just put a tiny bit more in. I'm going to put the lid on my ink pad as well, because it is so warm. That's just not fair on my ink pad. Bit of inking. Now actually, I've just noticed the word is that way up, so I'm going to turn that up like that. The glue dries clear, so any bits that are showing behind these acetate things, embellishments. I say these could be die cuts, I just don't happen to have any die cuts at the moment. Add last couple. But again, it's one of these things I'm really not having to think about. Now, I just snipped off his leaves, and I kind of like his leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to glue it and overlap it so it looks like it was that length, because that's what I can do. Bit of glue to that one. Bit of glue to my leaf. Did I have another word? Have I used 3 words? I haven't, have I? It'll turn up. It'll be stuck to my finger in a minute, probably. I know I'm using the same word every time, but you can obviously mix and match it. I just want to quickly show you that, you know, something like this, again, not a massive amount of thinking, and they just look really pretty. But again, it's this very simple rules. So when you're getting your background, so it's not too overpowering. I think everything's glued there. do want a couple more buttons. Where did I see something that was a bit boring? There. If you want your buttons to be a bit more interesting, you can put some thread through them. I could add a little bit of tufty twine is another thing I like to add as a little bit of texture, so not everything's flat. So just add a bit of glue and just add a little bit behind, so you've got a little bit of texture. Doesn't take long to build you up. Yeah, the don't overthink is such an important thing. Right, so I want to now show you how to make a little book for these to go in. So I'm just going to put them up a bit. I'm doing this with black card. Paper is usually better, but it should work. It's just going to add a bit of string because that piece of twine decided it wanted to come on that one. So I'm not going to argue with it. It just look a really nice, I like a set of something, and it's quite easy to do. Right. So take an A4 piece of paper or card, fold it in half like that. I think these are going to be a bit big for this, but you'll get the idea. And we fold it in half like that. Oh, they're going to be tight because they're each going to fit on there. Okay, and just fold everything nice and crisp. Now we need to cut the middle there, so rather than trying to do it with a knife, you can fold it in half, take your scissors and just cut that middle crease to where the cross is on the other folds. Then you're going to fold it back in half, and you see how you get a little mouth. If you push firmly, pinch it down, wrap it round. This is a little bit thick, so it's not quite as neat as it can be. You've now got a little book. Okay, and then you would start to add your little things into your little book. I might ink the edges, and I do need to trim some of them down, but you would have a lovely little book. I'll get some of these glued in very quickly because I've just looked at the time. Just trim that one down a bit because I just think this is such a nice little way. You do know I'll be picking glue off my fingers forever later. I'll tidy these. I'll only glue 2 in because I'll tidy these up and get them done in properly and fold the book a little bit better to show you. But there you go. You can make a nice little, it's usually called like a fanzine or a little book zine, and then you can put your little cards in it, and it would make such a lovely little sort of mojo buster again. So that's your a 1-page wonder, layered magic, and make your own rice paper. Hang on, I apologise, I'm going to be flustered. Let's go to that one. Whew, bit warm. Right, so I hope you enjoyed that. I will obviously get this up onto YouTube for you. I will finish these off properly. It will be later on tomorrow because I've got to load Paul because he is on his way to Glasgow, then to coming back via Liverpool, and then to Leamington Spa. So he's out and about. I'm bookbinding on Saturday, and I'm also online bookbinding on Sunday, which I know lots of you will be joining me for. So if you're having trouble getting into the group for that, just let me know. But otherwise, stay hydrated, stay cool, enjoy the sunshine. But I say it is a little bit melty, so I'm going to call it a night and go downstairs where it's cooler and drag the dog down with me because he's still, oh no, he might have gone actually, he's not down there. He has decided to go into the cool. Right, so I'll write up the instructions for that, get all that on Facebook tomorrow night, but in the meantime, chill out, have a cold glass of something, and I will see you next week, except those people, I'll see you on Sunday, bright and early, 10 a.m, and we will be making all things booky as we do tape binding on Sunday. So take care, and I'll see you next week.